Kemi is 32 years old, a successful marketing executive living in Lagos, Nigeria. Her life is what many people would call ideal. She's climbed the corporate ladder and is now in a senior position that pays well. She has her own apartment in the heart of the city, a car she loves, and friends who admire her for her independence and strength. To Kemi, this is her version of happiness. At least, that's what she tells herself. In quiet moments, when the city lights flicker through her bedroom window, she wonders if there's something more. Her friends are getting married, starting families, and sharing Instagram-perfect pictures of romantic getaways, and while she doesn't envy them, a part of her is curious. Could there be space for love in her busy, driven life? Or is she destined to keep going solo? Kemi's boss calls her in for a meeting. The company is restructuring, and while she's safe in her job, her workload is about to double. She thrives under pressure, though, and eagerly takes on the challenge. But when her mother calls that evening and asks when she's going to settle down like her cousins, Kemi sighs. "I'm settled, Mom," she replies, trying to laugh it off. But her mother's words linger. Kemi has always pushed back against traditional expectations, yet in moments like this, she wonders if her independence is worth it if it leaves her feeling this lonely. One Friday night, Kemi's best friend, Tayo, convinces her to go to a networking event for professionals. Kemi reluctantly agrees. She doesn't have high hopes for the night. After all, she's more interested in her work than mingling. As the evening progresses, Kemi feels out of place. But then she meets Dele, a charming entrepreneur. He's nothing like the corporate types she usually meets. There's something grounded and authentic about him. They talk for hours, and Kemi finds herself genuinely enjoying the conversation. He's not interested in her professional title, nor is he intimidated by her success. Instead, they connect on shared values, ambition, independence, and the need to create something meaningful in life. By the end of the night, Kemi feels something she hasn't felt in a long time, a spark. Over the next week, Kemi and Dele begin texting, their conversations ranging from business ideas to personal dreams. As much as Kemi enjoys this new connection, she's also wary. She's been here before men who start off interested but end up feeling threatened by her career-driven life. She voices her concerns to Tayo. What if he's just like the others? What if he loses interest once he realizes how intense my work is? Tayo, ever the optimist, tells her to relax. You can't let fear hold you back, Kemi. Not every guy is intimidated by a strong woman. Give him a chance. Dele asks Kemi out for dinner, and she agrees, cautiously optimistic. They meet at a trendy rooftop restaurant overlooking the city skyline. The atmosphere is warm, the conversation flowing easily. Dele asks her about her career and listens with genuine interest. He doesn't just nod politely, he asks questions, shares his own thoughts, and challenges her in a way that excites her. For once, Kemi feels like she's met someone who doesn't want her to shrink herself or fit into a mold. As the night ends, Dele walks her to her car, and there's a moment of hesitation before he leans in for a soft, gentle kiss. Kemi drives home with her heart racing, unsure of what this could turn into, but hopeful nonetheless. As their relationship begins to develop, Kemi finds herself trying to balance her career and this budding romance. She's used to her schedule being packed with meetings, late nights at the office, and weekends catching up on work. But now, she has Dele in the mix. She's not used to someone else occupying her time, and it feels both exhilarating and terrifying. Can she make room for him without losing the life she's worked so hard to build? Or is she setting herself up for disappointment? One weekend, Dele invites Kemi to a family gathering. She hesitates but agrees to go. When she arrives, she's surprised by how different his family dynamic is from her own. They're warm, open, and welcoming, but also very traditional. His mother, in particular, makes several comments about marriage and children, which make Kemi uncomfortable. Later, Dele pulls her aside and apologizes. "I know they can be a bit much. But that's just them," he says with a laugh. Kemi smiles, but something nags at her. What if his family's expectations are too different from hers? What if, despite how well they get along, this is a red flag? As the weeks go by, the pressures of Kemi's job begin to take a toll. She's working late more often, missing dates, and canceling plans with Dele. One night, after another last-minute cancellation, Dele confronts her. Kemi, I get that your career is important, but you can't keep blowing me off, he says, frustration in his voice. Kemi is defensive. I told you from the beginning that my work is demanding. This is who I am, Dele. I know that. But relationships take effort too, he replies. It's their first real fight, and Kemi is left wondering if she's capable of finding a balance between love and work. After the argument, Kemi reflects on the choices she's made. She's always prided herself on being independent and successful, but she begins to question if those values have come at the expense of love and personal happiness. She reaches out to her mentor at work, an older woman who has been through similar struggles. You don't have to choose one over the other, her mentor advises. It's about finding someone who complements your life, not someone who competes with it. Determined to make things work, Kemi decides to approach the relationship differently. She starts setting boundaries with her job, leaving the office at a reasonable hour, taking weekends off when possible. It's hard at first, but slowly, she begins to feel more balanced. Dele notices the change and appreciates her effort. I know it's not easy for you, but I see how hard you're trying, he says one night, wrapping his arms around her. For the first time in a long time, Kemi feels like she's found something worth fighting for, someone who sees her for who she truly is, not just the version of herself she presents to the world. After a few months of dating, Dele suggests they take a weekend getaway to the countryside, a chance to escape the pressures of work and the city. Kemi hesitates at first. Taking time off feels like a luxury she can't afford, especially with an upcoming project deadline. But Dele convinces her that a break is exactly what she needs. They drive out of Lagos early Saturday morning, the car windows down, the air fresher as they leave the city behind. As they arrive at a quiet, serene lodge by the water, Kemi feels her shoulders relax for the first time in weeks. For once, she's not thinking about deadlines or meetings, just Dele and the peaceful surroundings. The weekend is everything Kemi didn't know she needed. Dele plans a picnic by the lake, and they spend hours talking about their dreams and fears. He opens up about his own struggles as an entrepreneur, how the pressure to succeed weighs on him too, but in a different way. Sitting on the blanket, their hands entwined, Kemi realizes that for the first time in her life, she's letting someone into her world completely. It scares her, but it also feels like a step forward. As the sun sets, Dele leans in and whispers, "I'm falling for you, Kemi." Her heart races, but she smiles. "I think I'm falling for you too." Returning to the city after such an idyllic weekend feels jarring. The Monday morning rush hits Kemi hard. Her inbox is flooded, her phone rings off the hook, and her boss is already pushing her to meet an impossible deadline. For a moment, she questions whether she can juggle it all: work, love, life. But when Dele sends her a simple text, "Hope you're doing okay. Remember to breathe," she smiles. It's a reminder that she's not in this alone anymore. She can lean on him, and that thought is both comforting and foreign to her fiercely independent spirit. As their relationship deepens, it's time for Dele to meet Kemi's friends. She organizes a casual dinner at her favorite restaurant with Tayo and 2 other close friends. Dele fits in easily, charming them with his down-to-earth personality and witty sense of humor. Kemi watches from across the table, feeling a mix of pride and relief. After dinner, Tayo pulls her aside. "I like him, Kemi. He's not intimidated by you at all, and that's rare. I think he's a keeper." Kemi grins, but deep down, she knows Tayo's right. Dele is different, and that's what scares her the most. What if she messes this up? Work becomes increasingly demanding as Kemi is handed the lead on a high-profile marketing campaign. The project is massive, and the pressure to succeed is overwhelming. She finds herself slipping back into her old habits: late nights at the office, weekends spent answering emails, and missing out on time with Dele. One night, Dele surprises her at her office with dinner. "You've been working so hard. I figured you could use a break." She smiles, grateful for his thoughtfulness, but she can see the concern in his eyes. "I'm just swamped with this campaign," she explains. "It won't be like this forever." Dele nods, but Kemi can sense the growing tension between them. She wonders how long he'll be willing to wait for her to find balance. As the campaign deadline approaches, Kemi becomes more consumed by work. She starts canceling plans with Dele more frequently, and though he tries to be understanding, it's clear that the strain is taking its toll. One night, After a particularly stressful day, Kemi snaps at Dele over something small. "You don't get it. This campaign is my career. If I mess this up, I could lose everything I've worked for." Dele stays calm, but hurt flickers in his eyes. "I'm not asking you to choose between me and your career, Kemi. I just need to know that there's room for me in your life too." Kemi feels the weight of his words, but doesn't know how to respond. She's torn between her love for Dele and the career she's worked so hard to build. The argument lingers in Kemi's mind for days. She throws herself into work, hoping to distract herself from the growing distance between her and Dele. But one night, after working late again, she gets a call from Taryor. "I think you're making a mistake, Kemi," Taryor says bluntly. "Dele is the best thing that's happened to you in a long time, and you're pushing him away." Kemi knows Taryor is right. She realizes that in her effort to protect herself and her career, she's been closing off the possibility of real love. And for the first time, she wonders if she's willing to risk it all for Dele. Kemi decides to make amends. She takes a day off from work, a huge step for her, and surprises Dele with a home-cooked dinner. She's nervous, unsure if he'll accept her olive branch, but when he arrives and sees her effort, his face softens. They talk over dinner, and Kemi apologizes. "I know I've been distant, and I don't want to lose you because of my job. I'm trying to find balance, but it's hard for me." Dele takes her hand. "I don't need perfection, Kemi. I just need to know that we're in this together." It's a turning point in their relationship, one where they both commit to making things work no matter how tough it gets. The following weeks are better. Kemi continues to work hard, but she also makes a conscious effort to spend more time with Dele. They take evening walks, share meals, and even start planning small trips together. She feels more balanced than she ever has before. Dele also begins to open up more about his work and the struggles of running his own business. They become each other's confidants, leaning on one another during the tough times and celebrating the small victories. For the first time, Kemi feels like she's found someone who truly understands her, a partner in every sense of the word. As their relationship grows stronger, the topic of the future comes up more often. One night, while watching a movie at Dele's apartment, he turns to her and asks, "Do you ever think about marriage?" Kemi pauses, caught off guard. She's always imagined herself as the independent, career-driven woman, but now with Dele in her life, the idea doesn't seem so far-fetched. "I do sometimes," she admits. "But I'm not sure I'm ready." Dele nods, not pushing the issue. "Whenever you are, I'll be here." It's a simple statement, but it reassures Kemi in a way she didn't expect. For the first time in her life, she feels like she doesn't have to choose between love and success. She can have both in her own terms. Kemi is invited to a family event at Dele's home, and while she's gotten used to the traditional warmth of his family, there's an undercurrent she can't ignore. Dele's mother, always subtle, begins asking pointed questions. "When will we see grandchildren? Are you two thinking about marriage soon?" It makes Kemi uneasy. In her world, marriage isn't the end goal, personal fulfillment is. But in Dele's family, marriage and children are seen as a natural progression. She knows this isn't just his family's view, it's a deeply cultural expectation in Nigeria and much of Africa. Women, especially successful ones, are often expected to balance their careers with a home life, with marriage seen as a status symbol of its own. Later that night, Dele notices her unease. "My mom means well. You know how it is," he says with a gentle laugh, trying to ease the tension. Kemi forces a smile, but wonders how much weight these cultural expectations will carry in their relationship. She knows she loves Dele, but she's not sure if she's ready to conform to these traditional ideals. As the weeks pass, Kemi finds herself feeling more pressured not just by Dele's family, but by society at large. At work, her colleagues make snide remarks about how a woman at your age should be married by now. She brushes it off, but it eats at her. Dele, on the other hand, seems more relaxed about the whole thing. "I'm not in a rush," he tells her one night when she brings up the subject. "I just want you to be happy." But Kemi knows it's not that simple. Dele is a traditional man in many ways, and while he respects her independence, his family's values are also a part of him. She's beginning to wonder if their different perspectives on life and love could eventually tear them apart. The tension between Kemi's professional aspirations and societal expectations begins to weigh heavily on her. She's focused on securing a promotion at work, a move that would further cement her success in the marketing world, but at the same time, she feels the pressure from Dele's family and even her own to settle down. One evening, after another stressful day at the office, Kemi and Dele meet for dinner. The conversation is light at first, but soon turns serious when Dele mentions his sister's upcoming wedding. "Everyone's asking when we're next," he says with a chuckle, but Kemi feels a lump form in her throat. "I don't know if I'm ready," she admits quietly, staring down at her plate. Dele reaches for her hand, but she pulls back. The distance between them feels palpable, and for the first time, Kemi wonders if love is enough to bridge their growing divide. Kemi turns to her mother for advice, hoping for some clarity. They sit in the family kitchen, the scent of jollof rice and fried plantains wafting through the air as her mother prepares dinner. Her mother is from an older generation, one where a woman's success was measured by her ability to maintain a home and family. But Kemi has always pushed against those expectations. "You're worried about marriage, aren't you?" her mother asks without looking up from the stove. Kemi nods. "I don't know if I'm ready, but everyone seems to think it's the next step." Her mother turns and gives her a gentle smile. "You've always been stubborn, Kemi. You've built your life on your own terms. Marriage isn't a race, and it's not something you should do because others expect it. Do it when you're ready if you're ready." Her mother's words bring some comfort, but they don't erase the uncertainty Kemi feels. As time goes on, the pressure mounts. Dele's family starts dropping not-so-subtle hints during gatherings, and Kemi feels like she's being cornered. One weekend, while at a family barbecue, Dele's aunt makes an offhand comment. "Dele, you found a good one. Don't wait too long now, or someone else might come along." Everyone laughs, but Kemi's smile falters. Later that evening, when they're alone, Dele brings it up. "I know you don't like the pressure, but maybe it's time we think about our future seriously." Kemi stiffens. "I am thinking about it, Dele. But it's not as simple as everyone makes it out to be. What's holding you back?" he asks, his voice soft but probing. Kemi struggles to find the right words. She knows she loves him, but the fear of losing her independence, of becoming what society expects her to be, terrifies her. One night, after another family gathering filled with marriage talk, Kemi and Dele have a serious discussion about their cultural values. Dele admits that he's feeling the pressure from his family to get married, even though he hasn't pushed it on Kemi directly. "It's not just about us," Dele explains. "In our culture, marriage is seen as a major milestone, especially for men. I can ignore it for a while, but eventually, I have to face those expectations." Kemi understands, but it doesn't make her decision any easier. "I love you, Dele, but I also love my life the way it is. I don't want to get married just because it's what's expected of me." They sit in silence, the weight of their cultural differences pressing down on them. Kemi knows they'll have to find a way to navigate this if their relationship is going to survive. A few days later, Kemi takes time for herself, going on a solo trip to clear her head. She spends time in nature, reflecting on her life and her relationship with Dele. As she watches the waves crash against the shore, something clicks. She realizes that she's been viewing marriage as a loss of her independence, when in reality, it could be something entirely different. A partnership that enhances her life, not diminishes it. She returns to Lagos with a renewed sense of clarity. When she meets Dele that evening, she sits him down and opens up about her fears. "I'm afraid that getting married will mean losing myself," she admits. "But I'm starting to see that maybe it doesn't have to be that way." Dele listens carefully, his face softening. "I never want you to lose yourself, Kemi. I fell in love with you because of who you are, your ambition, your independence. Marriage doesn't have to change that. It's about us growing together, not giving up who we are." Their conversation marks a turning point. Instead of viewing marriage as a cultural obligation, Kemi and Dele begin to redefine what partnership means to them. They decide to take things at their own pace, discussing the possibility of a future together without the pressure of society's timeline. They agree that if and when they get married, it will be on their own terms, focused on building a life that honors both their individual dreams and their love for each other. The newfound understanding brings them closer than ever. For the first time, Kemi feels like she's in control of her own destiny, and that marriage, if it happens, will be a mutual decision, not something forced by outside expectations. Over time, Kemi and Dele work on navigating the cultural dynamics of their relationship. Dele's family, while still traditional, begins to see that Kemi is not the type to be rushed into anything. Though his mother continues to make light-hearted remarks about marriage, she becomes more respectful of their decision to take things slowly. Kemi, in turn, learns to appreciate certain aspects of Nigerian culture that she had previously resisted. She begins to understand the value of community and family in a deeper way, realizing that these traditions don't have to conflict with her personal goals, they can coexist. This mutual compromise strengthens their bond, showing them that while cultural differences exist, they can be navigated with love, respect, and understanding. As their relationship stabilizes, Kemi's career continues to thrive. She's promoted to a higher position within the company, a role that comes with more responsibility but also more flexibility. For the first time in years, Kemi feels like she's found a balance between her personal and professional life. Dele's business is also growing, and they support each other in their individual successes. They've built a relationship where both can pursue their dreams without feeling like they have to sacrifice their own identities. In the process, Kemi realizes that love doesn't have to be an either/or situation. It can be an and. She can have both her career and her relationship, as long as she's with someone who values her for who she truly is. With their relationship growing stronger, Kemi and Dele find themselves at the crossroads of tradition and modernity. They are regularly invited to cultural events, weddings, naming ceremonies, and family gatherings, where tradition reigns. While Dele is comfortable in these spaces, Kemi often feels like an outsider, unsure of how to reconcile her modern, independent mindset with the deeply rooted cultural norms. At one particular event, a traditional Yoruba engagement ceremony, Kemi watches as the bride is presented to the groom's family, kneeling as a sign of respect. While Kemi respects the tradition, it stirs something inside her. She begins to wonder what her own wedding might look like if it ever happens. Later that night, Kemi confides in Dele. "I respect these customs, but sometimes, I feel like they don't align with who I am. I don't know if I can see myself in such a traditional role." Dele takes her hand and says, "We'll create our own path, Kemi. We don't have to follow every tradition. Our story is ours to write." Inspired by Dele's words, Kemi begins to think more seriously about the future. She realizes that part of her fear comes from the idea that she has to fit into a pre-existing mold, one that doesn't fully resonate with who she is. But the more she reflects, the more she understands that love and tradition don't have to be at odds. They can create their own version of a future together, blending the best of both worlds. One evening, as they sit by the lagoon watching the sunset, Kemi brings up the idea of combining their cultural values with modern principles. "What if we design our life together our way?" she asks. Dele nods, smiling. "That's exactly what I want too. A life that reflects both our roots and our dreams. We can honor tradition, but still be ourselves." Kemi feels a weight lift off her shoulders. It's not about rejecting tradition, it's about redefining it in a way that makes sense for them. In Nigerian culture, marriage isn't just between two people, it's often seen as a union between families. With this in mind, Kemi and Dele decide to have a conversation with both of their families about their future, hoping to ease any concerns and set boundaries about their relationship. At a family dinner, Kemi's mother and Dele's parents sit across from the couple as they explain their plans to take things slow and do things their way. Dele's mother listens carefully, her expression serious. "I understand where you're coming from," she finally says. "But in our family, tradition is important. We want to make sure that you're honoring our heritage." Kemi takes a deep breath and responds respectfully. "We will honor the traditions that resonate with us. But we also want to ensure that our marriage reflects who we are as individuals. We want your support, but we also ask for your understanding." There's a brief pause before Dele's mother smiles, her eyes softening. "We just want you both to be happy. If this is how you find happiness, then we support you." It's a relief for Kemi and Dele, and they leave the dinner feeling like they've taken an important step forward, not just as a couple, but as individuals carving out their own space within their family's expectations. Despite the support from their families, not everyone understands their decision. Kemi faces criticism from some colleagues and friends, who question why she isn't rushing into marriage when she's in a committed relationship. One of her friends even remarks, "You're not getting any younger, Kemi. Don't wait too long or you'll regret it." The comment stings, but Kemi remains steadfast in her belief that she and Dele are doing what's best for them. She talks to Dele about it later, and he reassures her. "People will always have opinions, but they don't live our lives. We do." Kemi feels grateful to have a partner who supports her, even in the face of societal pressure. Together, they decide to focus on their own happiness rather than the expectations of others. As the months go by, both Kemi and Dele find themselves on personal journeys of growth. For Kemi, it's about redefining her understanding of success. She realizes that success isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder, it's also about finding balance and fulfillment in her personal life. She begins attending more cultural events, not just out of obligation, but out of a desire to connect more deeply with her roots. She finds herself appreciating the richness of Nigerian culture in ways she hadn't before, its emphasis on family, community, and togetherness. Dele, too, is evolving. His business is expanding, and he's learning to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with more confidence. But he's also becoming more attuned to Kemi's needs and the delicate balance they both strive for in their relationship. One evening, after a long day of work, Dele surprises Kemi with a romantic dinner at her apartment. There's a soft glow from the candles, and a warm breeze drifts in from the balcony. As they sit down to eat, Dele seems quieter than usual, his thoughts clearly elsewhere. After dessert, he takes Kemi's hand, his voice serious. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about our journey, and where we're headed." Kemi's heart skips a beat as she watches him reach into his pocket and pull out a small velvet box. "I love you, Kemi, more than I've ever loved anyone. I don't want to rush you, but I want you to know that I'm ready for the next step whenever you are. Will you marry me?" Tears well up in Kemi's eyes as she looks at the ring and then at Dele. She's no longer afraid of losing herself in marriage because she knows that with Dele, she'll always be free to be herself. She smiles, her heart full of love and certainty. "Yes," she whispers. Unlike the traditional Yoruba engagement Kemi had witnessed before, she and Dele decide to make their engagement their own. They have a small, intimate ceremony with just their closest friends and family, blending elements of their Nigerian heritage with modern touches that reflect their personalities. Kemi wears a stunning lace osso oak dress. She and Dele exchange vows standing side by side as equals. It's a powerful moment for Kemi, who feels that she has finally reconciled her love for Dele with her desire to live life on her own terms. The ceremony is a beautiful blend of cultures, symbolizing not just their union as a couple, but the merging of tradition and individuality. For the first time, Kemi feels at peace with both her identity and her future with Dele. With their engagement now official, the next step is planning the wedding. Kemi and Dele are determined to create a day that truly reflects their relationship, a balance of tradition and modernity. They opt for a fusion wedding that incorporates both Western and Nigerian elements. There's excitement in the air as they meet with wedding planners, choosing venues, and deciding on everything from food to music. But amidst the joy, they also face the challenge of managing family expectations. Dele's parents want a large, traditional Yoruba wedding, while Kemi's side prefers something more understated. Once again, Kemi and Dele find themselves navigating the cultural expectations surrounding their union, but this time, they do it with a renewed sense of purpose. They know that the day is about them, and they're determined to make it as unique as their love story. As the wedding planning progresses, Kemi and Dele find a compromise that satisfies both families. They decide to have two ceremonies, a traditional Yoruba engagement ceremony to honor Dele's family and culture, and a smaller, more modern Western-style wedding for Kemi's side. The decision brings relief to both of them. It's a perfect reflection of their relationship, a blend of the old and the new, the traditional and the progressive. Kemi feels a deep sense of pride knowing that they've created a wedding that reflects who they are as individuals and as a couple. With the decision made to have two ceremonies, the whirlwind of wedding preparations begins. Kemi and Dele dive into planning, each event representing a different facet of their lives. The Yoruba engagement ceremony will be vibrant and full of traditional rituals, while the Western-style wedding is set to be more intimate, with modern touches that reflect their individual personalities. Dele's family takes charge of the Yoruba engagement ceremony, ensuring that everything is done according to tradition. Kemi learns about customs she had not been exposed to before, like the introduction ceremony and the symbolic exchange of gifts between families. She's intrigued by the beauty of these rituals but feels the weight of expectations resting on her shoulders. At the same time, Kemi focuses on organizing the Western-style wedding. They choose a lush outdoor garden for the ceremony, where soft lighting and minimalist decor will create the perfect backdrop for their love story. There's excitement in the air as they finalize their guest list and select the music for their first dance, a mix of Afrobeat and classical tunes that symbolize their blended worlds. As the wedding date approaches, Kemi finds herself increasingly stressed. While the Yoruba engagement ceremony is meant to be a celebration, she feels anxious about fulfilling all the expectations. Dele's mother has already shared her thoughts on the attire, the food, and even the guest list, insisting that it's important to do it right. At the same time, Kemi's mother expresses her own concerns. "Are you sure you're not taking on too much? 2 weddings will be exhausting," she says, her tone laced with worry. Kemi begins to feel trapped between the 2 worlds. She confides in Dele, voicing her frustrations about the overwhelming pressure to please everyone. Dele reassures her. "It's our day, Kemi. Let's focus on what we want, and not worry too much about everyone else." Kemi takes a deep breath, grateful for Dele's unwavering support. She resolves to focus on the love that brought them together, rather than the expectations of others. Kemi is awestruck by the vibrant colors and elaborate details. She wears a stunning hand-woven osso-oak in shades of gold and maroon, while Dele dons a matching agbada, looking regal and proud. The ceremony is full of symbolic gestures. Dele's family presents Kemi's family with a list of items, including fruits, yams, and kola nuts, each representing prosperity, fertility, and unity. Kemi watches as these exchanges unfold, feeling a deep connection to a culture that, though unfamiliar, now feels like a part of her. The highlight of the day is the moment Kemi kneels before Dele's parents as a sign of respect, a gesture she's thought a lot about. In that moment, she realizes that it's not about submission, but about embracing the values of humility and love that come with joining 2 families. As the ceremony ends, there's music and dancing, with everyone celebrating the union in joyous, traditional style. Kemi and Dele are swept into the rhythm of the drums, dancing together as their families join in, filling the air with laughter and excitement. Just a few days after the Yoruba engagement, it's time for the Western-style wedding. The ceremony takes place in a picturesque garden, where white flowers and fairy lights set a serene, romantic atmosphere. Kemi walks down the aisle in a sleek, ivory gown, her heart fluttering as she sees Dele standing at the altar, waiting for her with a wide smile. The vows are simple, heartfelt, and personal. Kemi and Dele promise to love and support each other through every challenge, to honor their differences, and to build a life that reflects the best of both their worlds. As they exchange rings, Kemi feels a sense of peace wash over her. This ceremony, unlike the engagement, is entirely their own. It's a celebration of the life they've built together, free of expectations. They kiss under the soft glow of the sunset, surrounded by close friends and family, and the cheers erupt as they are officially pronounced husband and wife. Their first dance is a magical moment, with the Afrobeat music mixing seamlessly with the soft strings of a violin. Kemi rests her head on Dele's shoulder, feeling a deep contentment. She's found her own version of happiness, one that honors both tradition and personal choice. After the whirlwind of the wedding celebrations, Kemi and Dele set off for their honeymoon in the Seychelles. The island's serene beauty is the perfect escape from the chaos of wedding planning, and for the first time in weeks, they are able to relax and enjoy each other's company without distractions. They spend their days lounging on the beach, exploring hidden coves, and enjoying candlelit dinners by the ocean. The honeymoon is blissful, and they talk about everything from their dreams for the future to the lessons they've learned from navigating their cultural differences. "I feel like we've grown so much," Kemi says one evening as they watch the sunset. "I used to think marriage meant losing myself, but I realize now that with you, it's about finding myself even more." Dele smiles, squeezing her hand. "We've created something special, Kemi. And this is just the beginning." After the honeymoon, Kemi and Dele return to Lagos, ready to begin their life as a married couple. But as the honeymoon glow fades, they quickly realize that life as newlyweds isn't as simple as it seemed in paradise. The responsibilities of work, family, and the expectations of their respective communities come rushing back, bringing new challenges. Kemi's career is more demanding than ever, and she finds herself working late nights to manage her new responsibilities. At the same time, Dele's business is expanding, and he's often traveling for work. The time they had for each other before the wedding now feels limited, and the strain begins to show. "I miss you," Kemi says one night as Dele returns from another long day. "It feels like we're always working, and we don't have time for us anymore." Dele sighs, nodding in agreement. "I know. But it's hard. We both have so much on our plates." As the weeks go by, the strain only worsens. Kemi and Dele begin to argue more frequently, often about small things that snowball into bigger issues. One evening, they have their first major fight. Kemi accuses Dele of being too focused on his work, while Dele argues that Kemi isn't making enough time for their relationship. "I'm doing my best, Dele," Kemi snaps, her frustration boiling over. "But I feel like I'm carrying everything on my own. You're always gone, and I'm left trying to balance work and family by myself." Dele throws his hands up in frustration. "I'm doing this for us. I'm building a future for us, Kemi. But it feels like nothing I do is enough for you." The argument leaves both of them hurt and exhausted. They go to bed without resolving the issue, and for the first time since they got married, Kemi feels a distance between them that she doesn't know how to bridge. The tension between Kemi and Dele continues to grow in the following weeks, and both of them begin to feel the weight of their individual responsibilities. Kemi's career is reaching new heights, but she's also feeling the pressure of juggling her personal life and professional ambitions. Dele, too, is stretched thin with his business, constantly trying to balance his work with the needs of their relationship. One weekend, after another exhausting week, Kemi suggests they take a break from their busy lives and spend time together, just the two of them. "We need to reconnect," she says. "Let's go somewhere, even if it's just for a day." Dele agrees, and they escape to a quiet resort on the outskirts of the city. As they walk along the beach, they talk openly about their struggles, their fears, and their hopes for the future. Kemi realizes that part of the challenge is learning to balance their individual dreams with their shared life as a couple. "We're still figuring this out," Kemi says softly. "It's not easy, but I know we can do it. We just need to remember why we fell in love in the first place." Dele nods, pulling her into a hug. "You're right. We'll find our balance, Kemi. We just have to keep working at it." After their weekend away, Kemi and Dele make a conscious effort to prioritize their relationship. They start setting aside time each week to reconnect, whether it's through date nights or simply spending quality time together at home. They also begin to communicate more openly about their needs and expectations, learning to compromise in ways that strengthen their bond. Kemi makes a point to attend more of Dele's business events, showing support for his work, while Dele becomes more involved in Kemi's world, attending some of her work functions and being more present in her professional life. It's not a perfect solution, but it helps. They begin to rediscover the joy in their relationship, finding new ways to support each other's ambitions while nurturing their marriage. As Kemi and Dele work on restoring balance in their marriage, they also focus on rediscovering the intimacy that brought them together in the first place. The late-night conversations that once sparked their connection return, and they begin to share more about their hopes, dreams, and fears for the future. One evening, after a particularly challenging day at work for both of them, they sit on their balcony with glasses of wine, watching the stars. Kemi leans into Dele, resting her head on his shoulder. "Do you ever think about what our future will look like? Where we'll be in 10 years?" she asks softly. Dele smiles, his hand gently stroking her hair. "I think about it all the time. I see us still together, still in love, but even stronger. Maybe with a couple of kids running around," he says, his voice full of warmth. Kemi laughs softly. "Kids? I can't even imagine that right now. But I like the idea of building something bigger than just the two of us." The conversation deepens their bond, reminding them that no matter the challenges they face, they're committed to building a future together, one that reflects their shared values and love for each other. As their relationship strengthens, they also have to navigate the complexities of family, especially the involvement of their in-laws. Dele's mother, while supportive, still harbors expectations about how Kemi should fulfill her role as a wife. From time to time, She offers unsolicited advice on everything from cooking traditional meals to when Kemi and Dele should start having children. Kemi, who's grown more confident in asserting her independence, tries to handle the situation with grace. One afternoon, while visiting Dele's parents, his mother brings up the subject of children again. You know, Kemi, it's important to start thinking about children soon. You don't want to wait too long. Kemi feels a familiar knot form in her stomach, but decides to address it gently. Mama, we will have children when the time is right for us. Right now, we're focusing on our careers and strengthening our marriage. Dele supports Kemi, stepping in when necessary to manage expectations from both sides of the family. It's a delicate balance, but over time, Kemi and Dele establish boundaries, ensuring that their marriage remains centered on their needs and not external pressures. With both Kemi and Dele advancing in their careers, they begin to face a new set of challenges. Dele's business continues to grow, and he starts receiving opportunities that require international travel. At the same time, Kemi's career in digital media takes off, with new projects that demand her full attention. The conflicting schedules begin to take a toll. Dele is often out of the country, and Kemi spends long hours at the office. They communicate mostly through video calls, but the physical distance creates a strain neither of them anticipated. One night, after a particularly exhausting week, Kemi finds herself feeling lonely. She misses the comfort of having Dele by her side. When they finally speak on the phone, Kemi's emotions spill over. I feel like we're living separate lives, she says, her voice breaking. I miss you. Dele's voice softens. I miss you too, Kemi. I didn't realize how much this would affect us. But we'll figure it out. I'll try to cut back on the travel. Though they both know they can't change their work commitments overnight, the conversation helps them understand that their marriage needs more attention, even amidst their growing professional success. As the pressures of work and distance begin to weigh more heavily on their marriage, Kemi and Dele find themselves at a crossroads. Dele is offered a lucrative business opportunity that would require him to move to another country for several months. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance, but the idea of being apart for that long unsettles both of them. During a late-night discussion, Dele brings it up. I don't want to take this if it means losing us, Kemi. But it's also an opportunity one can't ignore. Kemi listens, torn between wanting to support Dele's ambition and fearing the impact the separation will have on their relationship. I want you to succeed, Dele. But we've been struggling to keep things together as it is. If you're gone for months, what happens to us? They sit in silence for a long moment, each weighing the options. Finally, Dele takes Kemi's hand. We'll find a way, Kemi. We can set up regular visits, video calls, whatever it takes. But I don't want to lose you in the process. Kemi nods, but the uncertainty remains. They both know that their marriage will face new tests in the months to come. After much discussion, Dele decides to accept the opportunity, and they brace themselves for the challenge of a long-distance marriage. The night before Dele's flight, they spend time together, reminiscing about the early days of their relationship. Remember when we couldn't even figure out how to blend our cultures? Kemi laughs as she rests her head on Dele's chest. And now we're trying to figure out how to blend our time zones. Dele chuckles, but there's a hint of sadness in his voice. We've come a long way, Kemi. This is just another hurdle. We'll make it work. For the next few months, their love is sustained through video calls, surprise gifts, and frequent texts. They learn to appreciate the small moments and the brief visits when Dele returns to Lagos. The distance is hard, but it also teaches them the importance of communication, trust, and patience. As the months go by, Kemi and Dele begin to adjust to their new reality. Dele thrives in his new business role, while Kemi continues to excel in her career. They make a point to reconnect whenever Dele is back in Lagos, ensuring that their time together is meaningful. However, Kemi starts to feel a growing sense of isolation. While Dele is away, she finds herself navigating social events, family gatherings, and even work-related functions on her own. She misses the comfort of having her partner by her side, and the weight of being in a long-distance marriage starts to feel heavier. One evening, after a particularly lonely day, Kemi confides in her close friend Ada. I thought I could handle it, but it's harder than I expected, Kemi admits. I miss him so much, and sometimes it feels like our lives are moving in different directions. Ada offers words of comfort, reminding Kemi of the strength of her relationship with Dele. You two have been through so much together. If anyone can make this work, it's you and Dele. Kemi nods, grateful for the support, but she knows that something needs to change if they're going to sustain their marriage long term. After months of being apart, Dele finally returns to Lagos for an extended stay. The reunion is sweet, and for a while, it feels like they've picked up right where they left off. They spend time catching up, enjoying each other's company, and reconnecting physically and emotionally. But as the days go by, Kemi begins to notice a shift. Dele seems distant at times, preoccupied with thoughts about his business and the opportunities that await him abroad. One evening, as they're sitting on the couch, Kemi brings it up. "Is everything okay, Dele? You seem distracted." Dele sighs, running a hand through his hair. "I've been thinking. I love being here with you, but the business is growing, and I might need to spend more time overseas. I don't want to keep putting you through this." Kemi's heart sinks. The thought of being apart for even longer is unbearable. "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying we need to figure out a solution. Maybe you could come with me next time." The idea of moving abroad with Dele is both exciting and terrifying for Kemi. She's built a successful career in Lagos, and the thought of uprooting her life is daunting. But the idea of being with Dele, of experiencing a new chapter of their lives together, also fills her with hope. They spend the next few weeks discussing the logistics of such a move. Kemi talks to her employer about the possibility of working remotely, and Dele looks into finding a place for them to live overseas. It's a huge decision, and Kemi feels the weight of it on her shoulders. "I've always been so focused on my independence," Kemi confides in Dele one night. "But maybe this is our next step. Maybe this is what we need to make things work." Dele smiles, taking her hand. "No matter where we are, as long as we're together, we'll figure it out." Kemi and Dele's decision to relocate feels monumental. After months of planning and discussions, Kemi finally resigns from her position in Lagos, opting for a remote role with her company. The move comes with a bittersweet feeling, leaving behind her career, family, and the city she loves, but it also brings a sense of adventure and excitement for the future. The couple settles in a bustling foreign city, with Dele diving headfirst into his new business opportunities. For Kemi, the adjustment is more challenging. Although she works remotely, she finds herself feeling adrift in a new culture, with no friends or familiar faces to lean on. The novelty of the move wears off, and the loneliness she had briefly shaken off during Dele's long-distance trips starts creeping in again. Dele, on the other hand, thrives in his new environment. He's constantly meeting new people, traveling for business, and diving into his work. Kemi begins to feel like an outsider, watching from the sidelines as Dele flourishes in this new chapter of his life. One evening, after a particularly long day for both of them, Kemi voices her frustration. "I feel like I don't belong here, Dele. I'm trying to adjust, but everything feels so foreign. You're thriving, but I feel lost." Dele listens, his expression softening. "I had no idea you were feeling like this. I've been so focused on work that I haven't stopped to think about how this is affecting you. We'll figure this out together, Kemi. You're not alone." Determined to make the relocation work, Kemi and Dele commit to finding a new rhythm. Dele encourages Kemi to explore the city, suggesting she take up new hobbies, make friends, and find ways to create a life outside of their apartment. Kemi, initially hesitant, takes his advice to heart. She starts attending local cultural events, exploring art galleries, and taking language classes to better immerse herself in the community. Slowly but surely, Kemi begins to find her place in this foreign city. She makes friends with a diverse group of expats and locals, who introduce her to a new side of life she hadn't expected to enjoy. As Kemi grows more comfortable in her surroundings, her relationship with Dele starts to improve. They make time for each other, exploring the city together on weekends, and rediscovering the joy of simply being a couple again. The move, once overwhelming, begins to feel like a shared adventure. As the months pass, however, the relocation brings new challenges to their relationship. With Dele's business continuing to expand, his time becomes increasingly limited. Kemi starts to feel the familiar strain of being in a relationship where work seems to take priority over everything else. One evening, after Dele returns from a business trip, Kemi confronts him. "I understand that your work is important, Dele, but it feels like I'm constantly waiting for you. We moved here together, but I'm starting to feel like I'm navigating this life on my own." Dele looks at her, guilt flashing across his face. "I didn't realize how much this was affecting you. I've been so focused on making this business succeed that I've been neglecting us. I'll do better, Kemi. I promise." The conversation is a wake-up call for both of them. They decide to prioritize their relationship, making time for regular date nights and planning weekend getaways to explore new places together. It's a conscious effort, but they both know it's necessary to keep their bond strong. Despite the ups and downs, Kemi and Dele begin to settle into their new life abroad. Kemi's remote work picks up, and she starts taking on more leadership roles in her company, finding a renewed sense of purpose. The city that once felt foreign now feels like home, and Kemi realizes that she's grown in ways she never expected. Dele, too, learns to balance his work and personal life. He becomes more present, making sure that Kemi knows she's still his priority. Their relationship, though tested, becomes stronger as they learn to navigate this new chapter together. One evening, as they sit on their balcony, watching the city lights flicker below, Kemi smiles at Dele. "I didn't think I'd ever feel at home here, but now I can't imagine being anywhere else." Dele takes her hand, his eyes softening. "Home isn't about a place, Kemi. It's about being with you. Wherever we go, as long as we're together, that's home." Just as Kemi and Dele begin to find their groove, life throws them a curveball. Kemi starts feeling unusually tired, and after a few weeks of brushing off the symptoms, she decides to see a doctor. To her shock, she finds out that she's pregnant. The news leaves her reeling. Although they had talked about starting a family someday, it wasn't something she had planned for in the near future. She returns home that evening, her mind racing, unsure of how to tell Dele. When Dele comes home from work, Kemi takes a deep breath and breaks the news. "Dele, I went to the doctor today. I'm pregnant." For a moment, Dele just stares at her, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, a wide smile spreads across his face. "We're having a baby?" he asks, his voice filled with awe. Kemi nods, still processing the reality of it all. "Yes, we are." Dele pulls her into a tight embrace, his excitement palpable. "Kemi, this is amazing. We're going to be parents." The months that follow are a whirlwind of emotions as Kemi and Dele prepare for the arrival of their first child. The pregnancy brings with it new challenges, but also a renewed sense of closeness between them. They attend prenatal classes, decorate the nursery, and spend long evenings talking about what kind of parents they want to be. Kemi, who was initially anxious about becoming a mother, slowly begins to embrace the idea. She imagines the future they'll create for their child, blending the best of their Nigerian heritage with the experiences they've gained from living abroad. Dele, too, is eager to become a father. He makes a conscious effort to be present, cutting back on his travel and work commitments to ensure that he's there for Kemi throughout the pregnancy. The baby, though still months away, already feels like the center of their world. As Kemi's due date approaches, the reality of becoming parents starts to sink in. They both feel a mixture of excitement and fear, knowing that their lives are about to change in ways they can't yet fully comprehend. One evening, as they sit together in the nursery, Dele turns to Kemi, his expression serious. "Are you scared?" he asks quietly. Kemi nods. "A little. Everything's about to change, and I'm not sure we're ready for it." Dele squeezes her hand, his eyes full of love and reassurance. "We'll figure it out, just like we always do. We've faced challenges before, and we've come out stronger. This is just the next chapter of our story." Kemi smiles, comforted by his words. "You're right. We'll do this together." As Kemi's due date draws nearer, the anticipation in the air grows thick. The days feel long, and Kemi moves around their apartment with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Dele, ever the supportive husband, hovers around her, making sure she's comfortable and ready for any moment the baby decides to arrive. "You're going to make me nervous with all this pacing, Dele," Kemi teases one afternoon as she watches him fuss with the hospital bag for the 100th time. "I just want to make sure everything's perfect," Dele responds, grinning sheepishly. "We're about to meet our little one. I can't believe it." Kemi smiles, placing a hand on her swollen belly. "Neither can I. It feels surreal. But I'm ready. We're ready." Though they've prepared as much as they can, nothing quite feels real until one evening, Kemi's water breaks unexpectedly. In a flurry of excitement and nerves, Dele rushes her to the hospital, his heart racing, his mind spinning with thoughts of what's to come. After hours of labor, Kemi gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. The room fills with emotion as Kemi holds their newborn daughter in her arms for the first time, tears of joy streaming down her face. Dele, standing beside her, is equally overwhelmed. His heart swells with pride and awe at the sight of his family growing before his eyes. "She's perfect," Kemi whispers, her voice filled with awe. Dele gazes at their daughter with wide, tear-filled eyes. "She is," he agrees softly. "She's absolutely perfect." They name her Amara, meaning grace in Igbo, as a nod to their Nigerian heritage and the grace they believe she'll bring into their lives. In that moment, everything else fades away, the sleepless nights to come, the challenges of parenthood. They are lost in the magic of their first moments as a family. The first few weeks of parenthood are a whirlwind. Sleep becomes a rare luxury, and the demands of caring for a newborn leave Kemi and Dele exhausted but deeply in love with their little Amara. They take turns waking up for late-night feedings and soothing their daughter's cries, each moment testing their patience and resilience. Kemi, who was once so focused on her career and independence, finds herself amazed at how naturally motherhood comes to her. She falls into a rhythm of caring for Amara, though there are moments when the weight of the responsibility feels overwhelming. Dele, too, steps up in ways that surprise Kemi. He's hands-on with everything, changing diapers, rocking Amara to sleep, and even learning to bathe her with care. But the tiredness wears on both of them, and there are moments when tensions rise, especially as the demands of Dele's job begin to creep back in. "You're going to work again?" Kemi asks one morning, her eyes heavy with exhaustion as she cradles Amara in her arms. "I have to, love," Dele responds, rubbing the back of his neck. "The business won't run itself. But I'll be back as soon as I can." Kemi sighs, understanding but frustrated. She knows the importance of his work, but she can't help feeling the strain of handling most of the baby's needs alone. In the weeks that follow, Kemi and Dele begin to settle into a new kind of partnership, one where they juggle parenthood, their relationship, and their careers. Dele tries his best to balance the demands of his growing business with the responsibilities at home, while Kemi finds herself adjusting to the dual role of mother and remote worker. Though there are moments of tension, they also find joy in the small victories. Kemi laughs when Dele, sleep-deprived and disheveled, tries to change Amara's diaper in the middle of the night, only to have her squirm and kick, turning the whole thing into a chaotic mess. "I think she's trying to teach you a lesson," Kemi teases, watching Dele struggle. "I think I'm failing the test," Dele laughs, shaking his head as he finally gets the diaper on properly. It's in these moments of shared laughter, of leaning on each other through the chaos, that their relationship deepens. They realize that parenting, like marriage, requires teamwork, patience, and the willingness to embrace imperfection. As their new life with Amara settles in, Kemi and Dele also face the task of introducing their daughter to the rich cultural traditions they both cherish. Kemi's mother insists on having a naming ceremony, a Yoruba tradition that has been passed down for generations. Dele, ever respectful of their shared culture, agrees, but he also wants to incorporate some of his own family's traditions. The planning of the ceremony brings their families together, but it also stirs up some cultural differences that Kemi and Dele must navigate. Kemi's mother, a traditionalist, wants everything done the right way, while Dele's family suggests a modernized version of the celebration. Tensions rise during a family dinner when Kemi's mother says, Amara's name must be announced in the traditional way, with all the rites. This is important for her heritage. Dele's mother, however, counters gently, we should also honor the Igbo traditions, don't you think? Kemi and Dele exchange a glance, knowing they'll need to find a compromise. They spend the next few days discussing how to blend both cultures in a way that feels meaningful for them and respectful to their families. In the end, they create a beautiful, harmonious ceremony that celebrates both their Yoruba and Igbo roots, ensuring that Amara grows up with a deep appreciation for her dual heritage. Amidst the chaos of early parenthood, Kemi and Dele realize that their romantic connection has taken a backseat. While their bond as parents has strengthened, they miss the intimacy and spark that once defined their relationship. One evening, after putting Amara to bed, Kemi looks over at Dele and says, we haven't had time for just us in a while. Dele, who has been feeling the same way, smiles. You're right. Let's change that. They plan a much-needed date night, hiring a babysitter for the first time since Amara was born. Though both are nervous about leaving their daughter, the evening turns into a beautiful reminder of their love for each other. They share a quiet dinner, filled with laughter and reminiscing about their early days together, free from the responsibilities of parenthood for a few hours. The night rekindles their romance, reminding them that while they are now parents, they are still the same couple who fell in love all those years ago. As time passes, Kemi and Dele find themselves adjusting to a new normal. Life as parents is both exhausting and exhilarating, but they've learned to navigate the challenges together. Their love for Amara deepens every day, and their relationship, though tested, has grown stronger. Kemi, now more confident in her role as a mother, returns to her work with a renewed sense of purpose. She balances her career and motherhood with grace, learning to delegate and prioritize. Dele continues to manage his business, but he also makes a conscious effort to be more present at home, knowing that his family needs him just as much as his work does. Together, they reflect on how far they've come from the early days of their romance to the new chapter of parenthood. They faced challenges, but each one has only brought them closer. As they watch Amara take her first steps one sunny afternoon, Dele wraps his arm around Kemi and smiles. "We've built something beautiful, haven't we?" Kemi leans into him, her heart full. "Yes, we have. And this is just the beginning." As Amara grows older, Kemi and Dele begin to navigate the delicate balance between their professional ambitions and their growing responsibilities as parents. Kemi, now fully back at work, has taken on new leadership roles, and her career is flourishing. At the same time, Dele's business continues to expand, requiring him to travel frequently once again. One evening, after putting Amara to bed, Kemi sits down with Dele to discuss their future. "We're both doing so much, and I'm proud of what we've built, but I'm starting to feel stretched thin," she admits, rubbing her temples. Dele nods in agreement, understanding the weight they're both carrying. "I've been feeling it too. I don't want us to lose sight of what matters most, our family." They both realize that as much as they've thrived professionally, they need to reprioritize their personal lives. Kemi suggests they create a more structured balance, with dedicated family time each week, and Dele agrees to reduce his travel to focus more on being present for Kemi and Amara. As part of their commitment to balance, Kemi and Dele begin to introduce Amara to the cultural traditions they hold dear. Weekends become a time for family bonding, filled with Nigerian meals, storytelling, and music. Dele, ever passionate about his Igbo roots, teaches Amara songs and stories passed down from his ancestors, while Kemi introduces her to Yoruba folktales and customs. One Sunday afternoon, they prepare a traditional meal together: jollof rice, pounded yam, and egusi soup. Amara, now a curious toddler, watches intently as Kemi cooks, fascinated by the colors and smells. "Mama, can I help?" Amara asks, her little hands reaching up to the counter. Kemi laughs, pulling her daughter onto a stool beside her. "Of course, my love. You can stir the soup." As they cook, Dele tells Amara stories of his childhood in Enugu, painting vivid pictures of life in the Nigerian countryside. Kemi adds her own stories from growing up in Lagos, sharing the vibrant energy of the bustling city. These moments become the heart of their weekends, teaching Amara about her heritage while strengthening the bond between them as a family. Kemi and Dele realize that, in sharing these traditions, they are not only passing down their culture but also creating new memories that will shape Amara's sense of identity. Just as Kemi and Dele feel they've found a stable rhythm, life throws another curveball their way. Dele receives an offer to expand his business into several new countries, a massive opportunity that could take his career to the next level. However, the deal would require him to travel extensively and spend months abroad. When Dele shares the news with Kemi, her excitement is mixed with concern. "This is a huge opportunity, but we've just found our balance. How will we manage with you being away for so long?" Dele's face reflects the same conflict. "I know. It's a tough decision. But this could be life-changing for us. I don't want to miss out on this chance, but I also don't want to miss out on our family." They spend days discussing their options, weighing the benefits of the opportunity against the potential strain on their family. Ultimately, Dele decides to take the deal but negotiates a more flexible schedule that allows him to come home frequently. It's not ideal, but they both agree it's a compromise worth making. With Dele traveling more often, Kemi finds herself juggling the responsibilities of parenting and her own demanding career. She's proud of Dele's success, but the long stretches of time without him at home test her patience and resilience. She becomes the anchor for their household, managing everything from Amara's school activities to household decisions. Some days are harder than others, especially when Amara asks, "When is Daddy coming home?" in her small, hopeful voice. Kemi does her best to keep things positive, but the weight of single parenting while balancing her career wears on her. However, in these challenging moments, Kemi discovers a new strength within herself. She learns to lean on her support system, her friends, her mother, and Dele's family, and she becomes more independent in ways she never anticipated. Even when she misses Dele, she knows they're working towards a shared dream, and that thought keeps her going. When Dele returns home after several months abroad, he immediately senses the shift in their dynamic. Kemi is stronger, more self-reliant, and Amara has grown in ways he regrets missing. The time apart has given Dele a new perspective on the sacrifices they've both made, and he realizes that success comes at a cost. "I missed so much," Dele confesses one evening as they sit together after Amara has gone to bed. "I've been chasing this dream, but I didn't realize how much it would take me away from what matters most." Kemi looks at him, her eyes soft with understanding. "I know it's been hard, but we're still here. You're still a part of this family, even when you're away. But we need to find a better way to make this work." Together, they decide to scale back on Dele's international commitments, finding a way to grow his business without sacrificing their family time. It's a difficult decision, but they both know it's necessary to protect what they've built together. With their decision made, Kemi and Dele make a conscious effort to live more in the present. They focus on creating memories with Amara and each other, recognizing that life's greatest successes are found not only in career achievements but in the love and joy they share as a family. They take more vacations, explore the world together, and spend long weekends visiting family in Nigeria, reconnecting with their roots. Amara, now old enough to appreciate her dual heritage, thrives in the richness of both cultures. One evening, as they sit together on the porch, watching Amara chase fireflies in the yard, Kemi turns to Dele with a smile. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Dele nods, his eyes reflecting the journey they've been on. "We have. And I wouldn't trade a single moment of it." Kemi leans her head against his shoulder, feeling the warmth of their love and the deep bond they've nurtured over the years. It's in these simple moments, surrounded by family and laughter, that they find true fulfillment. As Amara grows into a bright and curious young girl, Kemi and Dele find themselves answering more questions than they ever imagined. Amara is inquisitive about everything, especially her cultural background and the world around her. She often asks about Nigeria, her parents' childhoods, and the stories behind the traditions they practice at home. One afternoon, as Kemi is preparing dinner, Amara tugs on her apron. "Mama, why don't we live in Nigeria like Grandma?" Kemi smiles, stirring the pot. "We moved to have better opportunities, but Nigeria will always be home. We visit when we can, and you'll always be connected to it, no matter where you live." Amara's wide eyes light up. "Can we go there soon? I want to see the places you tell me about." Kemi laughs softly. "We will, my love. There's so much for you to discover." These conversations spark a deeper curiosity in Amara about her heritage. She becomes eager to learn more about her Yoruba and Igbo roots, asking her grandparents to tell her stories over the phone and spending hours watching old videos of family celebrations. Kemi and Dele are proud to see their daughter embracing her culture, knowing that these early lessons will shape her identity as she grows. As Amara starts school, Kemi and Dele face new challenges in helping her navigate her identity in a diverse environment. Amara's schoolmates come from many different backgrounds, and while most of the children get along, there are moments when Amara feels different from her peers. One day, after coming home from school, Amara seems quieter than usual. Dele notices and sits down beside her. "What's on your mind, princess?" Amara hesitates before speaking. "Some kids at school made fun of my name today. They said it was weird." Dele's heart aches, but he remains calm. "Amara is a beautiful name. It means grace, and it's part of who you are. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about that." Kemi joins them, sitting on the other side of Amara. "You come from a rich heritage, my love. Your name carries the strength and beauty of our ancestors. Be proud of it, always. As Amara listens to her parents, she begins to understand that her uniqueness is something to be celebrated, not hidden. The support from Kemi and Dele helps her embrace her identity with confidence, and over time, she becomes more comfortable sharing her culture with her classmates. Amara's growing pride in her heritage reaches a new level when her school hosts an international day, encouraging students to showcase their cultural backgrounds. When the announcement is made, Amara is excited to participate, eager to share her Nigerian roots with her friends. "Mama, Papa, can I wear a traditional dress to school for the celebration?" Amara asks one evening as they sit around the dinner table. Kemi and Dele exchange proud smiles. "Of course you can," Kemi responds. "We'll make sure you have the perfect outfit." On the day of the event, Amara walks into school wearing a beautifully embroidered Ankara dress, her hair styled in traditional braids adorned with beads. Kemi and Dele, who attend the event as proud parents, watch as Amara confidently explains the significance of her outfit and the meaning behind her name. Amara's presentation is a hit, and her classmates are fascinated by the stories she shares about Nigeria. By the end of the day, she feels more connected to her heritage than ever before, and Kemi and Dele couldn't be prouder of the way she embraces who she is. As the years pass, Kemi and Dele continue to focus on raising Amara in a loving and supportive environment. However, just as they think they've settled into a comfortable rhythm, life throws another challenge their way. Kemi is offered a prestigious promotion at work, one that would require relocating to another country, an opportunity she's worked her entire career for. When she receives the news, Kemi is thrilled but conflicted. That evening, she sits down with Dele to discuss it. "This promotion is everything I've dreamed of, but it would mean uprooting our entire family. I don't know if it's worth it." Dele listens carefully, his brow furrowed in thought. "It's a huge decision, but we've always supported each other's dreams. If this is something you want, we'll find a way to make it work." Kemi looks into his eyes, grateful for his unwavering support. "But what about Amara? She's just starting to find her place here. I don't want to disrupt that." Dele nods, understanding the complexity of the situation. "We'll talk to her. She's resilient, just like you. And wherever we go, we'll make sure she knows that home is wherever we are together." After a long family discussion, Kemi and Dele sit down with Amara to explain the potential move. Amara listens quietly, her young mind processing the idea of leaving behind her school, friends, and the life she's come to know. "Will we still visit Nigeria?" Amara asks, her voice filled with curiosity and concern. "Of course we will," Kemi reassures her. "No matter where we go, our connection to home will never change." Dele adds, "And you'll make new friends, see new places, and learn new things. It's an adventure, Amara. But we won't make any decisions without you." Amara takes a moment before responding. "Okay. If it's an adventure, I'm ready." With Amara on board, Kemi and Dele begin preparing for the move, excited yet nervous about the new chapter ahead. Though the decision is bittersweet, they know that as long as they face the challenges together, they'll continue to thrive as a family. The weeks leading up to the move are a whirlwind of packing, goodbyes, and anticipation. Kemi and Dele do their best to prepare Amara for the big change, organizing farewell parties with her friends and creating a scrapbook filled with memories of their life in the UK. As the day of the move approaches, Amara becomes quieter, clearly processing the reality of leaving the world she's known. The morning of their departure is bittersweet. As they drive to the airport, Amara looks out of the window, her small hand gripping Kemi's. "I'm going to miss it here, Mama," she whispers, her voice tinged with sadness. Kemi squeezes her hand gently. "I know, my love. But remember, we'll come back to visit. And soon, you'll make new memories in our new home." Dele glances at them from the front seat, his heart heavy with the weight of the transition. He knows that while the move is a step forward for their family, it will take time to adjust. As the plane takes off, Dele watches the clouds beneath them, silently vowing to make this new chapter as smooth and joyful as possible. When they arrive in their new country, the first few weeks are filled with the chaos of settling in. The unfamiliar sights, sounds, and languages overwhelm Amara at first. Her once confident stride is replaced by hesitance as she navigates her new school and neighborhood. Kemi and Dele are also adjusting. Kemi is learning the ropes at her new job, and Dele is managing his business remotely with frequent flights back to the UK and Nigeria. One afternoon, after school, Amara comes home with tears in her eyes. "Mama, I don't like it here. The other kids don't talk to me, and they don't understand my accent," she says, her voice cracking. Kemi's heart sinks as she pulls her daughter into a comforting embrace. "It's going to take some time, Amara. Remember when we talked about being brave? You'll make friends soon, I promise." Dele joins them, crouching down to Amara's level. "Hey, you're one of the strongest people I know. New places can feel scary at first, but you'll find your way. We're all in this together." Despite their reassurances, the adjustment period proves tough. Amara feels like an outsider at school, and Kemi and Dele worry about the toll the move is taking on their daughter. However, they remain determined to support her every step of the way, knowing that transitions like this often come with growing pains. After a few more weeks of navigating the new environment, Amara has a breakthrough. One day at school, during a cultural exchange day, she's given the opportunity to present something from her heritage. Nervous but determined, she decides to share a Nigerian folktale that her grandparents once told her, accompanied by a small traditional dance. When she finishes, there's a moment of silence before her classmates erupt into applause. A few girls approach her afterward, asking questions about Nigeria, the stories, and the dance. For the first time since the move, Amara feels seen, her heritage becoming the bridge that connects her to others in this unfamiliar place. That evening, she tells Kemi and Dele about her day, her excitement palpable. "They loved the story, Mama, and they asked me to teach them the dance. I think I'm starting to make friends." Kemi and Dele exchange relieved smiles, their hearts swelling with pride. "That's wonderful, Amara," Kemi says, stroking her hair. "See? You're already finding your place." Dele adds, "This is just the beginning. You'll make more friends, and soon, this new place will start to feel like home." As they continue to settle into their new life, Kemi notices a shift in her own mindset. The promotion that once felt like the pinnacle of her career now seems less important compared to the well-being of her family. While she still excels at work, her focus is no longer solely on her professional success. Her time with Dele and Amara, especially in this new phase of life, feels more precious than ever. One evening, as they sit down for dinner, Kemi suggests something that surprises Dele. "I've been thinking, maybe we should scale back on work a little. Focus more on creating time for us as a family. We've been so career-driven, but I don't want us to miss out on these moments with Amara." Dele nods thoughtfully, understanding her shift in priorities. "I've been feeling the same. We've worked so hard to get where we are, but now it feels like time with each other is what matters most." They agree to make a concerted effort to create a better work-life balance, spending more weekends exploring their new country as a family, discovering local traditions and building new memories together. Slowly, the sense of displacement that came with the move begins to fade, replaced by a renewed sense of connection and love. Months pass, and as Amara thrives in her new environment, Kemi and Dele feel a deep sense of contentment. Parenthood has become the central joy of their lives, and watching their daughter grow into a confident, curious young girl fills them with pride. Every milestone she reaches, whether it's learning to ride a bike, excelling in school, or navigating friendships, feels like a shared victory. One weekend, while they're enjoying a picnic in the park, Dele turns to Kemi with a thoughtful expression. "Remember when we were just starting out? It felt like everything was uncertain. But now, looking at where we are, I feel like we've found our rhythm." Kemi nods, smiling softly. "We have. It hasn't always been easy, but every challenge has made us stronger. And seeing Amara grow into her own person, it's the greatest gift." Their conversation turns to the future, and though they know there will be more hurdles to face, they feel confident in their ability to handle them as a team. The move, once daunting, now feels like a stepping stone that brought them closer as a family. Just as Kemi and Dele are settling into their new life, another unexpected surprise shakes up their world. Kemi discovers she's pregnant. The news comes as a shock, but one filled with joy. As they sit together in the doctor's office, holding hands tightly, they both realize how much their lives are about to change once again. "How do you feel?" Dele asks, his voice filled with excitement and a hint of concern. Kemi looks at him, her heart full. "I'm overwhelmed but happy. I didn't expect this, but it feels right." Later that evening, they share the news with Amara, who is beyond excited at the prospect of becoming a big sister. "I can't believe I'm going to have a little brother or sister," she exclaims, bouncing with joy. "I'll teach them everything I know." As they prepare for the arrival of their second child, Kemi and Dele reflect on how far they've come. The move, the challenges, and the growth they've experienced have all led them to this moment, a moment of expansion, love, and new beginnings. The months following Kemi's pregnancy announcement are filled with excitement, anticipation, and a touch of nervousness. Amara is eager to help her parents prepare for the baby's arrival, often offering her own suggestions for baby names and decorating ideas for the nursery. Kemi, meanwhile, is balancing her pregnancy with work and home life, feeling the weight of responsibility more than ever. One afternoon, as they sit together assembling the baby's crib, Amara turns to her mother with wide, curious eyes. "Mama, do you think the baby will look more like you or Papa?" Kemi laughs softly. "We'll have to wait and see, my love. But no matter what, the baby will be a beautiful mix of all of us." Dele, tightening a bolt on the crib, adds, "And you'll be the best big sister, showing the baby how to navigate the world." As the due date draws nearer, the family grows even closer. Kemi and Dele are mindful of ensuring Amara still feels special and involved, knowing that the arrival of a sibling can sometimes bring mixed emotions for a child. They plan a big sister day for Amara, taking her out to her favorite spots and celebrating the unique role she'll play in the baby's life. The morning Kemi goes into labor is filled with a flurry of excitement and nerves. Dele rushes around the house, grabbing the hospital bag they've packed weeks earlier, while Amara, wide-eyed, tries to offer her own version of help. Kemi, though calm, feels a mix of emotions, joy, anticipation, and a tinge of worry. "Are you ready for this, love?" Dele asks as they make their way to the hospital. Kemi nods, squeezing his hand. "As ready as I'll ever be. Let's do this." Hours later, they welcome their baby boy into the world. Dele, tears in his eyes, holds Kemi's hand tightly as they both gaze at their newborn son for the first time. Amara, who visits the hospital the next day, is in awe of her baby brother. "He's so tiny," she exclaims, gently touching his hand. "Can I hold him?" As she carefully cradles her brother, a sense of pride fills her young heart. Kemi and Dele watch, overwhelmed with love for their growing family. This new chapter, though it brings sleepless nights and new responsibilities, also fills their lives with immense joy. The early weeks with the new baby, whom they name Toby, are both joyous and exhausting. Kemi and Dele take turns waking up for nighttime feedings, and while they've been through this stage before with Amara, having a newborn in the house again proves to be a challenge. One evening, as Kemi rocks Toby to sleep, she looks over at Dele, who is sitting on the couch with Amara, reading her a bedtime story. The scene fills her with a deep sense of gratitude. Their family is growing, and though their lives are busier and more chaotic than ever, it feels like everything is falling into place. Amara, meanwhile, is adjusting well to her role as a big sister. She loves helping with Toby, whether it's fetching diapers or singing to him when he's fussy. However, there are moments when she misses having her parents' undivided attention. One afternoon, as Kemi is feeding Toby, Amara quietly approaches her. "Mama, can we still have our special time together, just the two of us?" Kemi's heart melts. "Of course, my love. We'll always make time for just us. How about we have a special outing this weekend?" Amara's face lights up with a smile. "I'd love that." As the weeks turn into months, Kemi and Dele work hard to find balance between their growing family and their professional lives. Kemi returns to work, juggling her responsibilities as a mother of two with the demands of her career. Dele continues to manage his business remotely, making sure to spend as much time as possible at home with the family. The adjustment isn't always smooth. There are moments of frustration, exhaustion, and doubt. But through it all, Kemi and Dele lean on each other for support. Their relationship deepens as they navigate the challenges together, learning how to communicate better and prioritize what truly matters. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, Kemi and Dele sit on the porch, sipping tea and reflecting on their journey. "We've come a long way," Kemi says softly, resting her head on Dele's shoulder. Dele nods, a smile playing on his lips. "We really have. It hasn't always been easy, but I wouldn't trade any of it. Our family is everything." Kemi smiles, feeling a deep sense of contentment. Though their days are often busy and unpredictable, the love they share as a family makes every challenge worth it. As Toby grows, the family experiences the joys of watching him reach new milestones. His first smile, his first giggle, and eventually, his first steps bring endless delight to everyone. Amara is especially excited to see her little brother start walking, often cheering him on as he wobbles across the living room. One afternoon, as Dele is working in his home office, he hears Amara's excited voice echoing down the hallway. "Mama, Papa, Toby's walking." Rushing into the living room, Kemi and Dele watch in awe as Toby takes a few tentative steps toward Amara, his face beaming with pride. Amara claps her hands, her eyes wide with excitement. "He did it. He's walking." Kemi scoops Toby into her arms, laughing with joy. "You're getting so big, little one," she says, kissing his cheek. Dele wraps his arms around Kemi and Amara, smiling as they all celebrate the milestone together. Moments like these remind them of the beauty and joy that come with raising a family, and they feel grateful for the journey they've taken to get here. As the months pass, Kemi and Dele begin to feel the strain of their responsibilities. With Kemi returning to work full-time and Dele managing his growing business, they often find themselves juggling their family's needs with their demanding careers. Though they love their children deeply, the pressure begins to weigh on their relationship. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Kemi and Dele sit quietly at the dinner table, the tension between them palpable. Kemi sighs, staring at her plate. "I feel like we're losing ourselves in all of this work, the kids, the constant rush." Dele looks at her, his expression softening. "I know. We've been so focused on everything else, we've forgotten about us." They sit in silence for a moment, before Dele reaches across the table and takes Kemi's hand. "We need to make time for each other, Kemi. I miss us the way we used to laugh, talk about everything, and dream together." Kemi smiles softly, her eyes glistening with tears. "I miss that too. Maybe we need to step back a little, focus on what really matters." They decide to start small, dedicating one evening a week as their time, free from work, phones, and responsibilities, just to reconnect. On their first official date night, Kemi and Dele head to a small restaurant they used to frequent when they were first dating. The familiarity of the place, with its warm, inviting atmosphere, helps them relax and rediscover the joy of simply being together. As they reminisce about their early days of love, they talk openly about their current struggles, from the exhaustion of parenthood to the pressures of their careers. It's the first time in a long while they've had a real conversation about their own feelings, rather than focusing solely on the kids or work. "You know," Kemi says, swirling her wine glass, "I've been thinking a lot about how we're raising Amara and Toby. I want to make sure they understand their roots, where we come from. I don't want them to lose touch with our culture." Dele nods thoughtfully. "You're right. Being here, it's easy to get caught up in this world and forget about where we came from. Maybe it's time we brought them back home for a visit, to reconnect with their heritage." This idea plants a seed in both their minds. A trip back to Nigeria could be exactly what their family needs, not just for the children to connect with their roots, but for Kemi and Dele to reconnect with their own identities as well. Over the next few weeks, Kemi and Dele excitedly plan a trip back to Nigeria. It's been years since they've been home, and this visit feels more meaningful than ever. They talk to Amara about the traditions, the family she'll meet, and the experiences that will shape her understanding of where she comes from. Amara, now curious about her Nigerian heritage, begins asking more questions. "Will I get to see where you grew up, Mama? And can we visit Grandma and Grandpa's house?" "Yes, my love," Kemi says with a warm smile. "You'll see it all. And we'll make sure you and Toby experience some of the traditions that are so important to our family." Dele, too, begins to feel a deep longing for home. While they've built a beautiful life abroad, there's a sense of something missing, the connection to his roots, his family, and the culture that shaped him. This trip, he hopes, will ground them all in what truly matters. When they finally arrive in Nigeria, Kemi and Dele are greeted with open arms by their extended family. The vibrant colors, the smells of home-cooked meals, and the sounds of laughter immediately bring a sense of peace and belonging to the family. Amara, wide-eyed and curious, takes in every detail of her parents' homeland. She meets cousins, aunts, and uncles she's only heard about in stories. Meanwhile, Toby, though too young to fully understand, is passed around from relative to relative, showered with affection. Kemi's parents, now older but still full of life, embrace their grandchildren with joy. "You've brought them home," Kemi's mother says, tears in her eyes as she holds her daughter close. "You've done well, Kemi. We're proud of the family you've built." The family spends the next few days immersing themselves in the richness of Nigerian culture, from traditional food and music to local ceremonies. Kemi and Dele feel a renewed sense of identity, not just for themselves but for their children. During their stay, the family is invited to a traditional Yoruba ceremony, where Toby is officially introduced to the community. The event is filled with vibrant colors, drumming, and dancing, a celebration of life, family, and heritage. Amara watches in awe as her baby brother is carried by elders, who offer blessings and prayers for his future. For Kemi and Dele, it's a profoundly emotional experience. Standing together, surrounded by their community, they feel a deep connection to their past, present, and future. As the ceremony unfolds, Kemi finds herself reflecting on how far they've come. The struggles, the triumphs, the love they've built something beautiful, something strong. And now, standing in the heart of her homeland, she feels complete. Returning from Nigeria, the family is filled with a renewed sense of purpose. The trip not only brought them closer together but reminded them of the importance of their roots. Amara, more confident in her identity, begins proudly sharing stories of her time in Nigeria with her friends. Kemi and Dele, too, feel lighter, more grounded. The trip has given them clarity, not just about their roles as parents, but as individuals. They realize that balancing their careers and family life requires intention, and they're now more committed than ever to making time for what truly matters. They begin incorporating more Nigerian traditions into their daily lives, teaching Amara and Toby the language, the customs, and the values that shape them. As the years pass, the family continues to grow together, facing new challenges and joys along the way. Amara, now a teenager, begins exploring her own path, but with a strong sense of self and pride in her heritage. Toby, energetic and full of life, follows closely behind his big sister, eager to learn from her and his parents. Kemi and Dele, through all their ups and downs, have found their rhythm again. They've learned that love isn't just about the big moments. It's about the small, everyday choices they make to support one another, to listen, and to grow. The family gathers for a special celebration, Kemi and Dele's 15th wedding anniversary. Surrounded by friends and family, they reflect on the incredible journey they've taken together. As they sit at the head of the table, watching their children laugh and play, Kemi turns to Dele and smiles. "We did it," she says softly. "We built something beautiful." Dele takes her hand, his eyes filled with love. "We did. And it's only the beginning." The story ends here on a note of hope and fulfillment, with the family stronger than ever, rooted in love, culture, and a shared future. Their journey, filled with both challenges and triumphs, has led them to this moment, a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the beauty of honoring where you come from. Morals of the story. The power of love and resilience. Love, when nurtured, can overcome even the greatest challenges. The importance of cultural roots. Embracing one's heritage is essential for personal identity and family unity. Growth through challenges. Life's trials are opportunities for growth, both individually and as a family. Balancing family and career. Success in life comes from prioritizing love and relationships alongside career goals. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this story with friends and family. Please don't forget to leave a comment on how your cultural roots have shaped your life. See you in the next video.